How to Deal with Anxiety, Worry, and Fear. Written by Disney Panganiban, published by Acts 29 Publishing. Introduction. Over the course of the past 2 years, we have been through tremendous challenges as a society. As we navigated months of long lockdowns, COVID-19 restrictions, and the dread associated with numerous weeks of uncertainty, as well as a high death toll, we grew significantly resilient as a community. Sometimes, when we think back to such long and tiring months, we may feel bewildered by the fact that we were able to overcome such adversity and to do so over such an extended period of time. Nevertheless, the hardship we experienced did not come without repercussions. In fact, experts and governments are now beginning to speak about a second pandemic, that of mental health. As we were stuck at home, sometimes alone, for months on end, it was inevitable that this would result in dire consequences on our morale. Now, as we re-enter a world of new normalcy, as I like to call it, we also sometimes struggle to adapt to life as it is today. Sometimes, we may even feel like screaming at the top of our lungs. How are we just moving on from this? We went through a traumatic event. Indeed, depression rates are unfortunately through the roof. Likewise, anxiety, and many have become accustomed to worrying and fearing the worst. Life cannot go on like this, of course. While it is understandable that we are now feeling anxious, worried, or fearful as a result, it is not a state of mind that is conducive to peace and happiness. Your contentment and feeling of peace is crucial to a happy life, and worrying or fearing the worst, often as a result of anxiety, are holding you back from experiencing true inner peace. This is exactly what this book addresses: how you can overcome fear, worry, and anxiety in order to find peace in the troubled times that we find ourselves in. Throughout this book, we put our politics aside, our views on vaccines and lockdowns on the back burner, and we solely focus on the human side of things. We now focus on you, on making you feel more in control, and on giving you the tips that will empower you to find inner peace again. From discussing self-care methods to thought reframing and avoiding negative self-talk, this book gives you the necessary tips and tricks for you to find yourself again. With this in mind, let's begin. Uncovering anxiety. Anxiety has become somewhat of a buzzword over the past few months, and yet, only a few of us are clear on its specific meaning. Anxiety is most commonly understood as the feeling of unease, worry, or fear. While we may be worried about acute problems such as failing an exam, having to speak in public, or an upcoming interview, anxiety is rather chronic. It manifests itself in the randomest of situations and may often be irrational. Often, anxiety will present itself in the form of what-if thoughts, such as, what if this tower were to fall on me and I were to die? Or, what if I arrive at the party and no one is there? As you can see, anxiety is often an irrational pattern of thinking. It can be difficult to turn off anxious thoughts. They keep ringing in your head, running in a loop, and can cause you to become overwhelmed and out of control. But learning how to calm your mind can help you regain hope and overcome chronic worrying, or chronic anxiety. The key is to learn to control your distress and the recurring anxious thoughts that are encumbering your mind. While there are many ways that you can help yourself relax, de-stress, and lower your feelings of worry, anxiety is a bit different. For anxiety to be controlled, you need to be more conscious of your thoughts and must grow more aware of the triggers behind these anxious feelings. Anxiety is hence very different from worrying. When we worry, we are aware of the reasons behind it. We know why we worry, and we can also rationalize the situation. On the other hand, when we are anxious, we may sometimes not be rational about it at all. Finally, fear tends to be acute. This is something we can put our finger on. For example, you are fearful of spiders, and you worry about their effects if they sting you. Anxiety, however, would be the worry of waking up in the morning covered in spiders, even if it's irrational, and not being able to fall asleep because of this fear. What's at the root of it? The first step to treating your anxiety is to determine what caused the initial panic attack or stressful event. Anxiety is a natural reflex that echoes the fight or flight reaction. In a situation where you are in danger, you may feel nervous about the result of the danger. You see a car heading towards you and feel anxious that it could hit you. But when the fear becomes too much, the normal symptoms of panic attack and anxiety can become chronic, even if there is no real danger in sight. People experiencing anxiety often have physical symptoms too. Some of these symptoms include a faster heartbeat, tense muscles, sweaty palms, and trembling. But there are many others. These symptoms are part of the body's fight or flight response, but they are a sign of anxiety if there is no real threat in sight. While they can be subtle or severe, they can be an indication of a deeper problem as well, especially if the symptoms of anxiety stop you from undertaking normal day-to-day tasks. That being said, it's important to seek professional help for anxiety if you feel you are experiencing any of these symptoms to a severe extent. A doctor who specializes in anxiety will likely prescribe a psychotherapy session. Depending on your symptoms, the first session will involve a mental exam, a detailed history, and a questionnaire to rule out other medical problems. If the symptoms persist, a physician may refer you to a psychologist, who may then prescribe a medication. It is important to remember that the length of a therapy session will depend on the severity of the symptoms and that you can always choose not to take medication. Throughout this book, we are taking an approach focused on fixing the problem from within, i.e., the thoughts that are controlling you. Nonetheless, it should not be used to diagnose yourself and should not replace medication if you need it to function properly. Understanding how anxiety functions. Now that we have established what anxiety is and how it relates to fear and worry, we can start to address the ways you can cope with it. The first step is to understand where your anxiety is stemming from and subsequently to become more aware of such triggers to then stop the anxious thoughts from taking over your mind and inner peace. In most cases, anxiety works by making you think irrational thoughts and keeping you in a constant state of worry. The thoughts you have make you physically stressed as well, and they can make it difficult to focus on anything other than exactly what they are telling you. You may be anxious about social interactions, or may also be dealing with generalized anxiety, where thoughts carrying stress, worry, and fear cover a range of situations. In either case, we need to reframe the thoughts you have so you can gain control over your inner peace again. Reframing your thoughts. Changing the way we think can dramatically alter the way we feel and cope with situations. It can make a huge difference to our overall outlook on life. Cognitive reframing is one technique that helps people see their world more positively. It requires a strong willpower to hold on to the new frame and not to retreat or surrender. You need to stay firm and persistent even when your mind wanders. Eventually, you'll be able to view the world more positively, will have better control over the way your anxiety influences your behavior, and will find it easier to enjoy inner peace and calmness. When we are experiencing intense emotions, we often jump to conclusions and react badly to situations. The best way to change your perspective is to stop and reflect, which will allow you to take a breath, stop being overwhelmed by emotions, and think rationally about the situation at hand. Try not to judge your feelings and remember that they are temporary. Activity. Ask yourself, what is the real threat? Why am I feeling this way? Try and pinpoint exactly why you feel this way. Try to find a real root to the problem. Ask yourself, what's the worst-case scenario? Will you be able to overcome this challenge? Even if the worst-case scenario occurs, are there solutions? Based on this, reassess the situation. Are you allowing this anxiety to portray the situation in a much more dramatic view than it really is? If so, return to the beginning and start the process again. Reframe the thoughts and go back to the root of it. When our minds run on automatic mode, we automatically believe the worst, which can lead to poor outcomes. Instead of letting the negative thoughts rule our lives, we need to understand that they are only fleeting ideas. They aren't the truth about our lives. Indulging in self-care. The importance of self-care. When fighting anxious thoughts is well known, but many people still do not make it a priority. Not only does self-care prevent stress and exhaustion, it can also help you cope better with life's challenges by making you feel more grounded and in control of your reality. In addition, self-care helps you feel more energized and resilient. It tells your subconscious that you care about its well-being, and it gives you a meditative time to focus on your needs and your needs alone. That holds a lot of power and can reduce anxiety significantly. In fact, taking time to rest, relax, and take care of yourself is the crux of reducing anxiety as it lowers the levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, in the blood. Mental self-care involves taking care of your thoughts and feelings. Your inner dialogue can influence the way you see yourself, so it's vital to learn to train your mind to be positive and kind towards you. A sharp mind is useful when dealing with stress and navigating big life changes, and allowing yourself to think negatively, such as by using negative self-talk or allowing limiting beliefs to stop you from doing the things you love, can make anxiety worse. Physical self-care involves regular exercise and eating in a way that makes you feel good. The right type of exercise will keep your body healthy and fit while lowering the levels of cortisol in your blood. It also boosts your endorphins and dopamine, two substances that bring you feelings of happiness and euphoria. Taking time to take care of your physical health also makes you feel like you are taking care of yourself and, most importantly, are prioritizing yourself. That alone is a great way to calm your mind and find inner peace. When you feel more in touch with yourself and grounded, you are more in control of your life. That brings tremendous comfort. Social relationships are essential to good health as well, and self-care, for you, may involve seeing other people and surrounding yourself with friends and family that make you feel more grounded. Generally speaking, people with good relationships with friends are more likely to be happy as they feel supported and able to rely on others in hard times. This is a great stress reliever. When it comes to self-care, you can focus on your physical and mental health, but you should optimally aim to simply find something that makes you feel at peace, calm, and good about yourself. You should spend time with yourself each day, without distractions and obligations. That can be at the gym early in the morning, going out for a walk in the sun every Sunday, or can be as simple as taking the time to do laundry, iron your clothes, meal prepping, or cleaning your apartment. The key is to be yourself, and to do something that makes you happy and feel in control. This means focusing on the things that feed your soul. This is your time to rest and reflect. It will help you live a more balanced and content life. Activity. Take a few minutes to ponder over the things that bring you joy in life. It can be anything at all. Again, it's all about what makes you happy, what triggers endorphins, and what makes you feel more at peace. Spend more time with yourself. While social interactions may be your form of self-care, you should still spend some time on yourself, and more time with yourself if you are currently running from left and right, with very little time to do the things that you care about. The more you consciously take time for yourself, the more you feel at peace. Sometimes, deep cleaning your room is all it takes to feel in control again. Likewise, sometimes, a whole weekend in bed without the pressure of feeling like you need to get up and be productive can do wonders for your anxiety. To close off this book, here are a few ideas to implement into your life to feel more at peace with yourself in different settings, and more often. Take some time every day to stretch your muscles. This may sound silly, but taking even just 5 minutes every morning to do so puts you in a mindset where you are at the center of your own day. Make it a part of your routine and stretch. Get the blood pumping throughout your muscles and close your eyes while stretching. It has real meditative effects. Take time to walk around, run, or bike in places that you find appealing, calming, or simply pleasant to be in. If your area has a nice park with a lake or a pond, make it a habit to run or walk there every morning. Surround yourself by nature and scenic places and take in the nature around you. Remember, you are only one tiny dot in the history of life, and as such, while you may feel extremely anxious about problems or worries you may have, the likelihood is that these problems are equally as tiny in the grand scheme of things. Rationalize them using the activity discussed in the first part. Be compassionate with yourself. Forgive yourself if you feel like you are letting your anxiety get the best of you, and return to the center of your peace within you. Do not judge yourself for the emotions that you have, simply rationalize them. Take deep breaths and remind yourself that they are temporary. Remind yourself that you have things to be grateful for, and focus your energies on these instead of on the anxiety that you feel. And finally, once you feel calm and at peace again, give back to others. There is tremendous meaning and purpose to be found in providing others with the same help you needed to reach the point where you are now.
How to Deal with Anxiety, Worry, and Fear. Ebook version is available on Amazon Kindle, while the paperback version can be found at National Bookstore. Additionally, you can order this book from Acts 29 Publishing's official stores on Shopee and Lazada. If you enjoyed this audiobook, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated on new releases in the future.